Welcome to Miss Martin Muses. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses, where we muse upon it what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Well, today's something that makes me very happy and occasionally confused, and it is none other than the Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien, edited by his son Christopher Tolkien. And we are joined once again, all the way from the future, by the Viking himself, the one, the only Steve Kenobi.
Hi.
Hello, how's the future?
It's a rather gray day with a bit of rain.
Oh, well, that's better than having no future.
Yeah. Oh, and there's a dragon, but it's not that big.
Well, I guess that's good.
Yeah. They're not dangerous if it's raining.
Oh, you heard it here first. Dragon lore, right here. All right. We have Snortopupus Cuber. Hello. Thank you for being here, Jacob Ironside. Thank you.
You know what?
What?
As long as it's raining, no lizard is dangerous. So if you see a crocodile, go into the water.
Don't listen to a darn word Steve just said. Don't. Well, have you tested that theory, Steve?
No. There's no crocodiles in Norway.
No, that's true. Every time I have seen an alligator, I have stayed quite far from it. Thank you very much. I don't think I would win against one. Hello, Keck44. Hello, Keck44. Great to see you. Great to see you here. Oh, Snortopupus says, Dragon lives matter. Yes, they do.
Oh, we have a Perpy is in the chat too.
I was going to say, we have a Valkyrie in the chat. Purple Valkyrie.
It was her birthday yesterday.
Yes, happy birthday.
She shares a birthday with Twin Peaks, the TV show.
Well, I'll be damned.
Yep.
Let's see. Twin Peaks 1990, 32. Well done, Twin Peaks. Everyone's saying hi to Purple Valkyrie. And thank you. Sending her roses. Thank you. Jacob says, when there's a thunderstorm, go outside and hold a steel rod in the air. It'll be fine.
It's even better if it's copper.
I think this is turning to an instruction manual for the Darwin Awards. I don't think that this is good. Do not listen to this advice. And Purple Valkyrie is saying hello to everyone. Snortopupus says there are no crocodiles in Norway because the Vikings keep making shoes out of them.
Wait, you can make shoes out of them? We just killed them up for the hell of it. Didn't know we could make shoes. Damn it. Seems like such a waste.
Complete waste. How dare you? How dare you? Hello, Larry. Larry, thank you for being here. Copper Rod. Yes, Copper Rod. Purple Valkyrie has a pun for us. Shocking. LOL. Yeah. Very shocking.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you what
she was quick about it too. It was like a flash.
Oh. Here we go. Got anything else?
No.
No? Okay. Well, that ends our
not currently.
Oh.
Sorry. I'm just being polarizing.
Oh, Oh, damn. Oh, hello, Potato Revan. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. And thank you for everyone in the chat. This is one of the best chat. This is one of the best chats ever. The chat is definitely always as much a guest as the people on the panel. You all have great knowledge and great discussions, and I'm so happy to see you all here again as we go through the Silmarillion. Hello, Amaranth FTW. Thank you for giving us tacos. We endorse tacos here at Miss Martin Muses. Yes, we do. And we also love our animals because they come up with cute things like this. Our polar bear, this chat didn't take long to get short-circuited. No, it
Oh,
didn't.
yeah, there's a lot of battery going on.
The ore.
Yeah,
First
guilty
timer
as
looking.
guilty as charged. Okay, I'll stop.
Okay. The ore. First timer looking forward to the show. Thank you. Thank you for being here at Miss Martin Muses. And if you wouldn't mind giving a like, share, and subscribe, that would be awesome. Oh, Jacob
I'd like
Iron.
to praise the chat a bit though, because I've been on hundreds of panels really, and it's always way more fun when the chat is involved and engaging, and also if they know their stuff, it's great. And this chat is extremely knowledgeable about about Tolkien and Middle Earth and the lore and all that. So it's the chat is like this chat is like an 11 out of 10 easily.
Yes. Absolutely. It's almost getting to the point where this stream wouldn't be what it is. Well, it is at this point without you all. That it's so much fun to see you, and it's so much fun to see so many people returning. Okay, it looks like we have another a few more puns. Jacob Ironside. This conversation is electrifying. Why, yes, it is.
Like a greased lightning.
Everyone is saying hello. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get back into the Silmarillion. Last time, friends and neighbors, we had the I could never pronounce it. The whole into the beginning thing and the Quinta thing.
Quinta.
Thank you so much. The creation according to the elves. Now we're going to get into the chapters proper. I decided to go through chapters 1, 2, and 3, especially because chapter 1 is a reiteration of a lot of what we see in those early myths. And we can even tell that by the title of the beginning of days. And there's a part of me that's like, didn't we kind of already do this? But there is always more that we can get out of it. And thank you, Tolkien and Christopher Tolkien, for getting this for us, because they always have to give us just that extra little bit of information.
Yeah, and big thank you to Tolkien for making sure every damn character has at least 3 names. Makes it easy to follow, doesn't it? Fucking nerd.
Well, you get breaking news here at Miss Martin Muses. You get breaking news. Tolkien is a fucking nerd. I agree with you. It was getting to the point where I had to sit with Google open so that I could figure out, is this a new character again, or is this the same character?
Yeah. I'm usually good with, fantasy series that has a lot of characters and all, Wheel of Time, the Song of Ice and Fire, all that stuff. But the Silmarillion does confuse me. And I think it's the amount of names dropped in a few pages.
Yeah.
And then several of them have different names as well. They have 2 or 3 names, like I said. Mm-hmm. So I was like going back, who was this again? And yeah, so I think the Silmarillion is meant to be read several times, because it's almost it's like a study. It's not like you're reading a novel,
Yeah. And also keeping in mind that Tolkien himself did not oversee the final draft of this work, and that while this is absolutely Tolkien's work as edited by his son, you can't say that the final draft was approved by him. That maybe in the years since his death, what was it? He died like in 71, 72. This was
73.
73. Okay. So 4 years later, it was published. Maybe there would have been more back and forth between Christopher and his son.
Yeah. Easy year to remember because it's the ringverse numbers in reverse.
We'll all be damned.
1973. Right?
One and yeah. Okay. Well, wait, 7 and 3. Wait, 3.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 3 for the Elven Kings, and then 7 for the dwarves, 9 for mortal men, foreshadowing, and then 1 for the Dark Lord. Reverse it, you get 1973, which is eerie. That's when he died.
Oh my gosh, Steve, you just totally blew my mind. Is this common knowledge or is this something you found out?
No, it's I don't know, mediocre knowledge.
Mediocre knowledge? I don't know, but no, you just blew my mind. I never heard that before. You heard it here first. Breaking news. I'm going to declare breaking news from Steve Kenobi. That is tricky. Well, not rather tricky. That is eerie.
It is.
And vice versa, if you remember.
Especially since it has 9 for mortal men doomed to die in it.
And then he dies. He goes to the great beyond. That's also an interesting way that if you recall the year that Tolkien died, you can also keep it track of the rings.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
And the OneRing.net forgot about the One Ring. Remember that?
Oh, I know. Well, the OneRing.net haven't been fans of Tolkien and his work for apparently quite some time. I guess I just didn't notice it until they came out and started swinging and attacking and saying asinine things about things that allegedly happened that we all know didn't happen because I lived through it.
Yeah, I actually pointed out that Sam was not gay because he married Rosie and had a bunch of kids, and they blocked me for it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Because how dare you say that Sam wasn't gay? I mean, if Sam was gay, okay, fine, but he wasn't. And of course, I took great umbrage that they made up a story about how the fans treated Ian McKellen when, again, we were there. Yeah, everyone fell down and bowed down and worshipped that man for what he did.
I was following, when the movies were announced. That was kind of, the early days when people started having, the internet.
Yep.
And I was following it daily, and we had a dial-up, right? So I was just checking every day to see if there was a new photo or some new casting news, or what have you. And I remember everyone was up in the air about Ian McKellen.
Yeah. And about, frankly, all the casting. I mean, all the casting was just superb. Yeah. And of course, I take added umbrage that they tried to imply that it was the Catholics. It was Catholics that were arguing against him. And I'm like, no, I was there. It was exactly the same.
I never saw anything.
No.
I didn't see. The only complaint I saw actually came from the OneRing.net itself. It was Arwen at Helm's Deep. They were really laying into Liv Tyler for some reason because of it.
Yep.
But which I agree with them on that, but they shouldn't have attacked her. It wasn't her fault. But it was. They were actually attacking the changes that were being made, which is ironic.
Yep. Well, again, they think we don't have a memory. But Snortopupus is laying truth bombs. 5 for the polar bears in their seas of ice. Somehow that one got left out. Yes, how dare they?
Yeah, it's polarizing.
Okay. Jacob Ironside apparently is speaking in tongues. At first I thought he was speaking German. No, okay, that's a dark language. I ask no pardon. Potato Revan. Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, here's thank you very much for that. I think that is a dark speech. I heard a different saying says Potato Revan, 9 for mortal men who bought the lie, 7 dwarves cold and alone, 3 to the Elven Kings unable to die, 1 to the Dark Lord who died alone. Yeah, yeah, that could be a nice reimagining of the poem. Different ways to remember. Tartapupa says, the OneRing.net has become a servant of Morgoth. Yes, they have. And speaking of Morgoth, we're going to see a little bit more of these guys in
Morgoth.
the Quintus.
He is awesome.
Who started Pupus?
Oh, him too. Morgoth.
Oh.
For different reasons.
Different reasons. I was going to say, because Pupus is not a demon from hell.
No, he's nice. But yeah. Well, Morgoth is more like Lucifer, isn't he?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is equivalent of that because he was originally a good guy. Originally a quote unquote angel. Yeah. So I gave some love to sort of Pupus here. Let's go ahead and let's go to the Quintus Silmarillion, the beginning of day. So this is actually technically chapter 1. We are going to be going through a summary of this. We are not going to be going line from line. Again, I said that this is a lot of a reiteration and perhaps a little bit of an expansion upon what we have seen previously. So it says in the synopsis, following the entrance of the Einar as the Valar, which makes, of course, Geek so happy that there's several names for the same thing.
That one I have learned, though.
Yes, because the Valar is the elves' name for them. Yeah, we're definitely more familiar with that because maybe we talked more to elves than to the great spirits in the sky. Arda was still lifeless and had no distinct geographical features. During this time, the first war was fought between Melkor and the rest of the Valar. And Melkor had the upper hand. But Tolkien, a great spirit of strength, was sent to Arda, and Melkor fled before him. Thus, there was peace for the time. So, to sum up, there was a big ol' ass war after all of that discord that we talked about last week, and there was a fight. And Tolkien, it says here, was the most warlike of the Valar, and his nickname was Torcus the Strong, I believe, as I see here in my notes. So yay, Tolkien rather. So he came, and Melkor fled like a little bitch, and there was peace for a time. The initial shape of Arda, chosen by the Valar, is it Valar or Valar, Stieg? Valar, thank you, was of a symmetrical continent, lit by 2 lamps, wrought by Olwe the smith, filled with light by Varda, and hallowed by Manwë. Ilun in the north and Ormal in the south. So we got 2 lanterns. Of course, they're not lanterns. They're obviously great things of light. Seeds of growth were then planted by Yavanna. And we learned that Yavanna is the MVP of a lot of this.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we love Yavanna here. Which grew to fruition over Arda as greenery, grasses, and trees. The lamps illuminated all the earth, with both lights mixing in the center at the dwelling of the Valar, the Isle Almoran in the middle of the Great Lake. Whew. Say that 10 times fast. But as the Valar rested from their toils, Melkor delved in secret the fortress of Ultumo beneath the mountains of the north. He came forth suddenly, taking the Valar as unawares, and destroyed the lamps. Jerk. Thus the symmetry of Arda was marred. So again, for all those at home, He had 2 lamps. Melkor, who's a jerk, goes, caught them unaware, and destroys the lamps because he sucks. And then that messed up the symmetry of Arda. And Almaran was laid to ruin.
I'm sure there's a joke in there. Like, how many Melkors does it take to change the light bulb or something? And the answer is none. They can cook in the dark. Or
yeah. That's women. Oh, demons can cook in the dark, yeah. Yes, suck it, Melkor. Okay. And after the Elmaran was laid to ruin, Melkor fled to Ultumno before the wrath of Manwë and Tulkas, and the earth groaned in their wake. The might of the Valar was then put towards saving their labor, and they feared to put forth their power like so again, for they knew not where or when the children of Ilúvatar would awake. And we were discussing this previously, Stieg, that the elves and the children of men, elves and men, were in a limbo state. They'd been created, but they were in a different dimension.
If I understood it correctly, that they're basically, they were created, but they were basically in storage. They weren't activated yet. But the first ones who get kind of activated is the dwarves.
Yes.
So you can kind of debate, even though the elves were created first, who came first, right? Was it the dwarves? Because they were sentient before the elves, it seems. I don't know. It's
and
maybe something to think about.
Yeah.
Unless I misunderstood it, which is entirely possible.
Yes, and there's lots that we can quite possibly misunderstand.
Yeah. Please correct me in the chat if I'm dead wrong about this.
Yeah, I think you are correct from a certain point of view, but
well,
we're going to get into this in the next chapter. I don't know if the dwarves ever actually got to the point where they were awakened because Ilúvatar, God, intervened and was like, "Hey,
well,
what the hell
no, he was supposed to smash them with a hammer, and they cowered in fear, so they were absolutely awake."
Oh, well, I'll be damned.
Yeah, which was why Ilúvatar said, "Yeah, these,
yeah,
you shouldn't kill them."
Yeah, because you're right. If they hadn't been, they couldn't cower. All right.
Yeah.
You just blew my mind a little bit here. But yeah, and as Stieg said, if we're wrong, please.
Yeah, so it's kind of up for debate if the elves were first, because granted their bodies had been created, but they were just in limbo.
Huh. Yeah. Or do you put it forth from when?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to movies and books, right, it's the release date that counts. It should be that with the elves and dwarves too.
Okay. Thank you, chat, for coming in. First of all, Jacob Ironside, first win for the dwarves. And Snortopupus helps us out here. The 7 fathers of the dwarves were awake. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
you were right, Steve.
Yeah, they were gonna smash them, but yeah, and they were cowering.
Yeah, and then Ilúvatar kind of had pity because the old way or whatever, he begged for mercy, and that's we're going to get a little more into detail about that. Yeah, absolutely right. Well, and that's what makes this work rather, so interesting and in many ways so difficult. It's not like you're reading a narrative. I've said it before. It's almost like you're reading a myth or even like the Old Testament. It's something that you parse and you look at and perhaps even might have different interpretations of and the like. But yes, everyone's chiming in.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, they got put back to sleep and put in the ground basically.
Mhm.
Um, and then the elves woke up, and then but they had been awake for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and as they said, and as Potato Ribbon says, yep, the builder buried them then until after the elves awoke. Well, you heard it here first here at Miss Martin Muses, or at least you had it clarified. I love it. This creation of the dwarves, and we're going to get a little more into that in a few minutes. But I want to finish this up here. This very abstract history as we're reading this. They called this the Spring of Arda before Melkor messed things up in Arda. The world was darkened and split into two main continents, Amon in the far west and Middle Earth to the east, separated by the Great Sea. Of course, we're familiar with Middle Earth and we're familiar with Amon in the west, and we're familiar with the Great Sea. That is where they travel over the Great Sea to go into wherever they went at the end of the Lord of the Rings. It was in Aman where the Valar made their new abode. Yay! And they raised up the Pelori Mountains as a fortification against Melkor across the Sea of Belagar in Middle Earth. So we have a geography lesson here. We do. And there are maps of this that you can follow along that they have done. Meanwhile, Manwë, the chief of the Valar, set his throne upon the highest peak of the Pelori. A little bit of Zeus action here. They got the mountain, and he set his throne upon the highest peak. I said, and it's gosh darn it. See, this is where there's all these names. It's like, do we really need to know these? Well, yes, we do. It's part of the world building. I'm going to butcher it. Taniquetil. Thus the Valar made for themselves a home in the utmost west, in Amon, in which is called Valinor. You see, Valinor, rather, that's the one that we know more, and established a city of Valmar. Melkor hid himself from the Valar in Ultumno, which, after the marring, was in the north of Middle Earth. He surrounded himself with beasts of terror, many of them mire in the form of Balrogs. These were to remain some of his most faithful and dreadful servants. At this time, all was dark, so upon the mound of Ilzilclovithe in Valinor, Yavanna, our MVP, with the aid of Nienna, brought forth the two trees. The elder Telperion with the fluttering leaves of shining silver, and the younger Laureline from which shone forth a radiant golden light. Thus began the days of bliss of Valinor and the count of time. Yeah, because they would wane and wave, and that would give day and night, and began or something similar to day and night, and that would be the count of time. And now we're in the days of bliss. So we started off with the spring of Arda, which ended with that big war, and when Melkor, being a jerk, got rid of the two lamps, and then the days of bliss of Valinor, which they'd created after that, which Yavanna made those two trees with the light. Oh boy. And of course, as always, my head's about ready to explode. Okay, I'll get to your question in just a second, Potato Revan. I'm going to get first to Snorpoopus. He's telling us something here about Teleperin. I hope I'm saying this right. Was ultimately the ancestor of the white tree of Gondor.
Yes,
Yes.
he's right.
Thank you. You see how it's all connected? Yay! Okay, now I'm going to go back to Potato Revan's question. Since Meyer could change form, could that mean that, say, Gandalf was fighting a Balrog and he becomes a human like Gandalf, or could Gandalf have become a Balrog but made of light instead of shadow and flame?
No, there's limits, and a Balrog is an evil spirit. Gandalf is not an evil spirit, so he wouldn't change into like a nice Balrog.
Yeah, it's just I think that the
And
equivalent.
Gandalf, as a human, in a sense, his powers are limited. You
Yeah.
know, so he can. Basically, he can't blow up the world. He doesn't have that power, right,
Hmm.
or anything like that. He's limited to a supernatural human. Does that make sense?
Yes. And
Basically, as a Maiar, he would be level 100, but as a human, he's level 30. Something
good
something like that.
analogy. Yes.
Yeah,
He's leveled up. He's gotten different perks. He's gotten different
yeah. He
feats.
got the level drained or something.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that the compare and contrast, to put it maybe in a way that particularly I would understand, is the it's a difference between an angel and a demon. That Gandalf is an angel and the Balrog would be a demon, and you can't change. Like a demon can't become an angel, and an angel can't become a demon, even though they are technically angels and spirits. And
Yeah,
Gandalf would be the equivalent of like what they have in Greek mythology about a demigod. I think but it's not a perfect analogy, if I'm correct. Um, and then Jacob Ironside says, when he came back, he was more powerful, but still limited. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Like he leveled up. Yeah. He leveled up even more. He got some feats. He got some feats.
That is one awesome avatar this fellow has.
Primarch Vulcan. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. And thank you, Primarch Vulcan. Thank you for being here. I think this is the first time I've seen you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses. He has a good question. Wait, I'm confused. I thought Gandalf was an Istari, not a Maiar.
yeah. The Istari is the Maiar, basically. The
Yeah.
Istari are the Maiar sent down to Middle Earth or whatever. Unless I'm mistaken again. Well, Snortapoop
Yeah. Thank you.
He's saying what I'm saying.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
Istari were Maiar sent to Middle Earth. So yes, they are the same. And this is where we were talking earlier that, dang it, Tolkien, do you have to have different names for almost the same thing? But yes. So the answer is yes and no, but yes.
yeah. Basically, they were Maiar, but they were called Istari on Middle Earth.
Yeah, because they were and they were the ones that came into Earth. Because you could be a Maiar and not go into Middle Earth.
Yeah.
That they were innumerable. Yeah, as Snortapoop.
No, it's an Istari is a Maiar in human form, not the other way around. Or Primarch is saying it in the comment below.
Oh, okay. Istari knows we're in order of 5. Oh,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
When
They
they
were.
are in human form, they are
Yes,
Istari. Yes.
yes. And they were an order, almost like an order of monks, and they even had like different colors. You had Gandalf the White, you had Gandalf the White. He became Gandalf the White. Sorry, Saruman the White, Gandalf the Gray, Snortapoopus.
Gandalf. Yeah, Gandalf
Why
the
did I
Grey,
say Snortapoopus?
and Radagast the Brown, and Alatar and Palando were the
Yeah,
blue ones.
yes, the blue ones. And I was trying to say Radagast, and I came up with Snortapoopus. Freud, eat your heart out. Snortapoopus said too much that he was cousins of the bears who were friends with all that. Yes, blue. So yes, I think we answered these questions here. Potato Reverend says, in your guys' opinion, do you think the Valar or Iluvatar were around watching, maybe keeping tabs on what was happening? Also in a story, and they were the name of the Order of Wizards. Okay, yeah, that's what we just said. Yes, absolutely. I think that you can see in the Lord of the Rings, even though it was never quite explicit, you did see what can probably only be called divine intervention, especially when Frodo was calling upon Elbereth, I think. And
and Glorfindel, which we will get to later.
yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Primark says it. Laugh out loud. This is confusing but fun. Yes, welcome to our world. Because we knew when we were going to be going through the Silmarillion, it would be like this. But it is fun.
I'm at 75% of understanding it. Let's put it that way. I'm rusty. I used to know this, but it's over 20 years ago. So I've been reading too much other fantasy in between. So it's a bit, it's rusty and blurry.
Yeah, and me too. The last time I've read this was at least 20 years ago. And Potato Reverend says it shows the Irish in me. I read a story as Ishtare. Oh, I don't know if I'm familiar with that word, but I don't know if 8-year-old Irish would use that word either when I was in school. Okay. Keck44 says Istari was what the wizards were called in Middle Earth. They were depowered Meyer. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And Sturdapupus also reminds us, I think these aspects of their memories as Meyer were also limited while they took human form.
Yeah, they were limited. And they also had, there was stuff they weren't allowed to do. And Saruman broke that rule, which is why he, at the end, he kind of just turns to dust and mist and disappears, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not allowed back to where the other Myers are.
Uh-huh. Which is fitting. He, by his own free will, he made his choices. Snortapupus says, Snortapupus the white, unless my fur gets dirty, then I'm Snortapupus the dingy. Yes, sometimes my subconscious will come out in words, and I thought it's Snortapupus as opposed to associated with Radagast. And of course, being brown, that's the Franciscan color, which is associated with animals. I had put it as red. I've had bad dyslexia streams like this are fantastic for me. Okay.
If you have dyslexia, the Silmarillion is probably not the book to try to read.
No,
it's uphill.
Yeah, and it is difficult to listen to. I do have this on tape. I've been listening to it. We still cut books on tape. I've been listening to the Audible as well as reading it. And it is incredibly difficult to follow along with the Audible unless you actually have the words in front of you. It is incredibly difficult. And I'm glad that we're here to help because that's what we do here at Miss Martin Muses. Potato Reverend says to Primarch Vulcan, this is confusing but fun. That's what she said. Well, we knew it had to get there eventually. So far, we've actually kept this rated PG.
See, when Rennie's not here.
Blaming it on Rennie. Yes, Rennie could not be with us today. Oh, hello, Corey Cochran. LOL. Yes, definitely LOL. All right, so we did kind of go through this very quickly, which in the Silmarillion means 38 minutes. That's how you go quickly through the Silmarillion.
For a time.
I'm sorry, Steve?
We went through it for a time.
Thank you. That is definitely... that is definitely appropriate to how we are doing this. And then the next chapter, which is we started to touch upon, and now we're going to delve in a little deeper, is I'm going to butcher their names. Well, not Yavanna. It is of Alway. I think I'm saying that right. And Yavanna. And I am not getting the 2 little dots in there, so fight me. This is where we have the creation of the dwarves, and we see Yavanna kind of being pretty cool, and we'll see why. So there it is without the 2 dots. Snortapupus says #blame Rennie. Yes, Stieg frequently does. If you've ever seen my word of the day, it's always Rennie's fault, no matter what it is. Blame Rennie. Yes, precious, do that. I really enjoyed this chapter. I thought that this one was very fun because I
Your
like the.
microphone is sounds like
Oh,
you're far away.
shoot. Thank you, Steve. I was picking up the book and I put my mouth away. Yeah. Oh gosh, don't say. All right. Ents. Yes, Nerdopupus. Ents. That's what I was getting at. That's why we love Yavanna. So this is the creation of the dwarves. And Aldway, please correct me if I am wrong, made the dwarves even as they still are, because the forms of the children who were to come were unclear in his mind. So remember that it was that Iluvatar only shared with the other. I'll just call him Valar from here on out. What parts of his mind, parts of his vision of creation? They did not have complete knowledge, but Alway really had a feeling and almost a love for it, so he wanted to imitate it. But dwarves did not end up looking like men or else because he didn't know. So that's why they're all small and stuff and stocky, and apparently everyone has beards.
Used
And
to anyway.
yeah, yes. And that they should be strong and unyielding, but fearing that the other Valar might blame his work, yeah, and be like, hey, what the hell are you doing? He wrought in secret, and he made first the 7 fathers of the dwarves in a
The
hall under the mountain.
the seven dwarves.
Ah, hi ho. Yes. Exactly. So the fathers of the dwarves, and they were made inside the mountains. Now, Iluvatar knew what was done because, duh, he's all knowing. And in the very hour that Alway's work was complete, and he was pleased and began to instruct the dwarves in the speech. Okay, Steeg, I stand absolutely corrected that I did not quite catch that as I should, that they were awake, because he even taught them how to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not only were they aware that they spoke, and Iluvatar says, why hast thou done this? Why dost thou attempt a thing which thou knowest is beyond thy power? It is only a gift from me. Therefore, the creatures of thy hand and mine can live only by that being, blah, blah, blah. And he said, were you trying to be like me? And Elwë said, I did not desire such lordship. I desired things other than I am, to love and to teach them. So he was creating it out of love. He wasn't creating it like Melkor did out of jealousy and pride. And he goes, and in my impatience I have fallen into folly. But what shall I do now, so that you won't be angry with me? As a child to his father, I offer to thee these things, the work of the hands which thou hast made. And then, should I not rather destroy the work of my presumption? Then Alwë took up a great hammer to smite the dwarves, those poor dwarves, and he wept. But Iluvatar had compassion upon Alwë and his desire because of his humility. Humility in contrast to Melkor, who is full of pride. And the dwarves shrank from the hammer. That's what you said, Steeg. They shrank from the hammer and were afraid and bowed down their heads and begged for mercy. Holy crap. I reread this chapter this week, and I still didn't quite catch that. That's how deep this is. Yeah, because if you are not awake, you cannot beg for mercy. You do not have speech. You do not have awareness. You do not have free will. And the voice of Iluvatar said to Alwë, thy offer I accepted even as it was made. Dost thou not see that these things now have a life of their own and speak with their own voices? Else they would not have flinched from thy blow, nor from my command of thy will. Then Alwë cast down his hammer and was glad, and he gave thanks to Iluvatar, saying, may Eru bless my work and amend it. And because everyone has to have 5,000 names, the Eru is the... Oh, shoot. Is it Eru that's the the elven name for God, or is it Iluvatar? One of those is the elven name, and one's the one that the
It's Eru.
Eru. Okay, that's the big one. Okay. No, Eru is the elfin. What the elves call?
Yeah.
Okay. And Iluvatar is like his real name. And let me see. Okay, and he goes, and then Iluvatar goes, okay, you're cool, but in no other way will I mend thy handiwork, and as thou hast made it, so it shall be. Again, that's why the dwarves look like dwarves, and that Iluvatar did not go ahead and make them look like men. And then he goes, they shall sleep now in the darkness under stone. And he said, because these cannot come before the firstborn of my design, and they shall not come until the firstborn have awakened. And until that time, thou and they shall wait, though long it seem. But when the time comes, I will awaken them, and they shall be to thee as children. And often strife shall arise between thine and mine, the children of my adoption and the children of my choice. So this also explains in mythical form why dwarves and elves don't always get along. I think this is very beautiful, though, that Olwe is looking upon the dwarves as his children. He has a love for them, and it's kind of sweet. But since Iluvatar is the one that has the right to create, he does it on his own terms. So he says, I will love these things that you have created, because they weren't created out of evil, but they will be my adopted children, while the other ones will be my other children. So, yay, dwarves. Hello, Justin Popper. Justin Popper. Yes, hello, Justin Popper. Thank you for being here, Justin Proper. So what sort of homeronic puns can we find from Tolkien this time around? Well, as Steve has already said, since Rennie isn't here and he blames everything on her, maybe we'll behave ourselves. Uh-oh, someone's defending Rennie. Hashtag from Keck44, hashtag Rennie did nothing wrong. I don't know. What do you think about that, Steve?
I think he's full of shit. Rennie did plenty wrong.
Not fair, because she's not here to defend herself. Maybe she'll be listening to this on the replay later. Everyone's saying hello. Potato Reverend said, I think after Melkor, Iluvatar was triggered. Yeah, he was extra sensitive to this crap. All right. Potato Reverend, I don't know, his real name is Uru Iluvatar. Oh, gosh.
The third. Esquire.
Yeah. Potato Reverend said, an Irish goddess named Eru. Yes, and Tolkien, of course, did borrow and pay homage to many myths of the North.
Which is actually something he should, because the goal was to create a mythology for England. So if he's borrowing from British myths and legends, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So be careful. Don't trigger us here, because Irish, it's not necessarily British.
Oh, yeah.
No, but I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. Well, because Celtic stuff is actually a part of the whole thing from their myths. It's not just Celtic is not just Ireland. So there, I saved you. I saved everybody. I saved peace. Snortapoopa says, Elbereth is called Snow White in the hymn to her on Lord of the Rings. So Elbereth and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yep.
I'll let myself out. Okay, and Snortapoopa is also helping us out here. Eru means the one or alone. Iluvatar means all father. Hey, we know all father.
All father is Odin as well. Yep. Odin the All Father.
There we go. We were just saying that. Yes, definitely.
Bastard stole from us too.
Oh yeah, I was gonna. Yes, he from the Norse myths as well. Mm-hmm. Well, there's no such thing as a as an original myth?
Well, no, myths and legends fall under public domain. So if you're writing a fantasy story, you can use you can use whatever you wish from
Mhm.
mythology,
Yeah.
and it won't count as plagiarism.
Yeah. I think the only time I ever get annoyed is when they do that and don't acknowledge it. It's like, no, it was on me. It's like, no, you dumbass. We know what's going on. Or when they completely distort it. Yeah, you triggered Potato Revan. I was getting triggered too, but I understood what you meant. I knew what you meant, Steve.
Mm.
Timon Flip, hello. Just got home. Hey, yo. Well, hello. Thank you, Timon. Potato Rev. Jeez. Yeah, he meant Celtic. Okay, he meant Celtic. Let's save
No,
it.
I meant British. Absolutely did, but I didn't think about the Irish stuff though, Ireland and England. So I didn't. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I think a little bit tongue in cheek here. Jacob Ironside said, if the dwarves weren't created in secret, we wouldn't have the great eagles or the shepherds of the tree ants, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure it's chicken and egg there, or if it just was put in the same part of the story. But the good news is we're about ready to go there, because that's the whole thing about this. Every time I delve into it, my brain explodes a little more. Svernapupa says, when would it be disrespectful to refer to Iru as Tiramaturo, the big cheese? What the? Timon, everyone's saying hello to Timon. Yes, we love Timon here at Miss Martin Muses. We love everybody. And Potato Reverend said Disney tried to trademark Thor, Loki, Odin, Asgard, and the word Norse.
Yeah, they did.
Dumbasses. You can't trademark that.
Nope.
So what would they do if you, Steve, and all them and celebrating your culture somewhere? They go, you broke copyright, and try to charge you for Thor?
Yeah, I mean, there are people that still follow that old religion.
Mm-hmm.
So they're basically trying to copyright an active religion.
Yeah.
So it's like someone trying to copyright Jesus.
I was about ready to say that. Yeah, it's absurd. And to a certain degree, it's almost absurd that Marvel and all them did create superheroes out of these real mythological characters. But as you said, they're not. It's not like they're owned by. I mean, they're public domain. They're myths. I mean, they've been over thousands and thousands of years. And Steve, as you said, it's not only just an active religion over there. I mean, there's festivals and stuff, right? And rituals and
Only for the few people who practice it, I guess. But it's not
yeah.
like not something the country does.
Okay, just wondering. I just don't not familiar with that, but yeah, it's the height of arrogance to basically try to copyright gods, or to say to the Greeks they can't say Zeus, or to try to copyright Zeus for frick's sake. Snortpoo says he's in serious need of therapy. Well, I think we all are. Oh yeah, Marvel made Jesus the first X-Men. Those don't even get me started on what they're doing right now with Jesus. Trying to, and of course they always like to do this stuff around Easter because they are such believers in respecting diversity, right? Yeah. So yay, we got ourselves some elves. I'm sorry, rather we got ourselves some dwarves, and there was strife between them. And whenever I see therefore, I always ask what it is there for. So then Elway took the 7 fathers of the dwarves, and that's where we get, 3 rings for the elven kings, 7 for, the dwarf dudes, and laid them to rest. Yay! And then he returned to Valinor and waited till the long years lengthened. Since they were to come in the days of the power of Melkor, Elwë made the dwarves strong to endure. Therefore, they are stone hard, stubborn, fast in friendship and enmity, and they suffer toil and hunger and hurt of body more heartily than any of all the speaking peoples. So when you have people like Gimli bragging about the hardiness of the dwarves and all that, it wasn't just idle bragging. They live long, far beyond the span of men, yet not forever. Aforetime it was held among the elves in Middle Earth that dying the dwarves returned to the earth and the stone of which they were made. Yet that is not their own belief, for they say that Elwë the Maker, whom they call Mahal, cares for them and gathers them to Mandos in halls set apart, and that he declared to their fathers of old that Ilúvatar will hallow them and give them a place among the children in the end. Which we also see a little bit of a preview when Gimli is allowed to go across the sea with his good friend Legolas. And there's also a belief that the seven fathers of dwarves return to live again in their own kin and to bear once more their ancient names, of whom Durin was most renowned in after ages, father of that kindred most friendly to the elves, whose mansions were at Khazad-dûm. You see, it all works together. Potato Ribbon says the closest people who you could say owns the rights in a way to the Northguards are the kings of Norway and Sweden and the Queen of Denmark as the descendants of the old chiefs from those days.
No, Sweden doesn't get to own a damn thing.
Well, you heard it here first. Hello, LDG. Thank you for being here. Oh gosh, look at Sort of Poop as he gave a copyright next to Thor. And we don't even say Thor right. What we have anglicized pronunciation.
Yeah, we don't have the th sound at all.
Yeah. Which is ridiculous because it wouldn't be a problem for us in English to just then call him Tor, like without the H.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with us. Same thing with Loki. It's not an I sound, it's an sound, I think.
Yeah, Loki. It's because you guys pronounce your E's as we pronounce our I's.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good point. Well, and I bow down to your expertise when it comes to your language. Hell, yeah, I bow down.
I know my language.
Yeah. I was about ready to say I bow down to you and your knowledge of my language because we don't know how to speak English here in America. Okay. Potato Ribbon says, where did the dwarf woman? Oh, but I'm not a biologist. There you go.
Or a geologist.
Oh, yeah.
They came from the rocks, didn't they?
Yes. That would be. Oh, frick. I think it's sweet that the myth in Tolkien's myth is that's the reason why dwarves are dwarves, and it was out of love, and that they had always, like, for lack of a better word, a patron saint, but more of a patron saint, almost as a father to them. I mean, that's adorable. Yay. Oh gosh, everyone's copywriting everything now. Bible trademark, yeah, copyright the Bible. Though you can copyright your translation of the Bible, just saying. Timon says, same here, Stieg. R-I-S sound is like the English E-S. Yes. And he's from Portuguese, which is a romantic language. So on and on they go because that's what Tolkien does. And then we have Yavanna. We love her. We love Yavanna here at Miss Martin Muses. She's after all of this, before the rest of the Valar were told, Elwë told it to Yavanna because that's his chick. Eru is merciful, says Yavanna. Now I see that thy heart rejoiceth as indeed it may. And she goes, "Thy children will have little love for things of my love because you." Oh, go away. Sorry, somebody else, another monster in my house. She said, "Because you've hidden these from me," because I guess she's just being a petty chick. Uh, because it's like, why punish him for that? She said, "Because you didn't tell me, darling, because I'm a petty woman, thy children will have little love for the things of my love." No, but we still love you, Yvonne. "They will love first the things made by thy own hands, as doth their father. They will delve in the earth, and the things that grow and live upon the earth they will not heed. Many a tree shall feel the bite of their iron without pity." And then I guess that's another part of their myth explaining why dwarves are the way they are. And what does she say? Dag nabbit. She goes on and on. Oh, she goes to Alway. I'm sorry, Melkor. Dag nabbit. No, Melkor's the bad guy. She goes to Manwë, the good one. King of Arda. By the way, yeah, Manwë is the king of Arda. And she's like, "Hey, I got something to ask you, man." But she didn't tell him about what she knew. And all my works are dear to me. Shall nothing that I have devised be free from the dominion of others? And Manwë goes, "If thou hast thy will, what would you want?" Basically, that's what I'm saying. She goes, "I hold trees dear, long in the growing, swift shall they be in the felling, and unless they pay toll with fruit upon bough with little more in their passing. So I see in my thought, would that the trees might speak on behalf of all things that have roots." Boom! There we go. We got ints.
That's the ants.
Yep. And be advocates for nature and for Yavanna, which is what they did, Stieg, in the Two Towers. They awakened and boom. And then, Stieg, just for you, Tolkien, who saw into the future and knew that this would trigger you, said, and then they sang some
Yeah.
sang.
Yeah, well, as long as they didn't sing next to Melkor.
Exactly, yeah. Well, and part of the song is that they're showing, I think, a little bit that they're sharing in the divine, or rather able to show worship to the divine, because it says some sang, not all, but some sang to Iluvatar amid the wind and the rains. And some of them just kind of chilled and hung around, but some of them shall walk the shepherds of the trees, and those were the Ents, and then you find them in the forest. And
Which
then
is also what Pippin or Mary said, that the Ents were the shepherds of the trees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You see, that's why, even though this is hard, I'm loving this, because you see how it all connects.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And she said, "Eru is beautiful. Now let thy children beware, for there shall walk a power in the forest whose wrath they will arouse at their peril." Yeah.
Yeah. Don't mess with the forest.
No.
Which is what Saruman did.
Yep.
And you'd think that since he is kind of like a Maiar at this point, he would have heard the warning.
Mm-hmm. But I think maybe by that point his mind was so clouded with the will of the enemy that he wasn't able to see clearly. He was shrouded. Great commentary from our chat. Some of our female athletes have beards now, just like dwarves. Oh gosh. That's from Sort of Poopus. Oh, look, Jacob Ironside has copyrighted your name, Stieg. So I guess you're breaking copyright.
Also, those same female athletes also have nuts like Ents.
Wow. Gosh, Stieg, you're going to be the death of me. Uh-oh, Potato Revan, breaking news. I just got a new copyright, Miss Martin Muses. Well, oops. Well, it sucks to be me. Keck44 says, the Rose Lady having a bias for Yavanna. Plant people stick together. That's right. They are my people. Jacob Ironside says, Melkor bestrode the trees and danced a jig and sang. I'm not sure. Yeah. Well, Steeg's okay. I think we need to make it clear. Steeg is not anti-singing, especially in the sense of the being part of a co-creator when you're singing. He's just against it when the bad guys are near and they're going to hear you singing, and you're not too crazy when it goes on for 5 pages.
No.
All right. So that is of Olwe and Yavanna. You have anything to add about these dwarves and their creation and Yavanna and the Ents?
Not really. I thought these chapters were easier than the first bits we did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, it's
still pretty heavy.
Yeah, we're still in the dry area of the book. You know, but oh yeah, and when they were fighting Melkor, that was pretty damn hardcore. I mean, Melkor basically raised the Misty Mountains as a barrier against another one.
Uh-huh.
So Melkor actually built the Misty Mountains, which is insane if you think about the scope of what he did. You know, it's that's you basically have huge gods fighting each other before anything, life has been created.
Yeah.
And when they're fighting, they're creating mountain ranges and stuff. And I've said it before, Tolkien is heavy metal.
Yes. Well, and in the Greek myths, didn't they also have it that when the gods were fighting, that's where thunder and lightning and all that came from? That it was that huge scale.
Yeah, we have that with Thor. He's riding his carriage across the sky, and that's what's causing the lightning.
Oh.
Does it when he's merry or pissed.
Oh, well, there we go.
Hence why he's called the god of thunder, right?
Yeah. Well, there we are. I didn't realize he had a little chariot thing he did with it.
Yeah, it's pulled by goats. Can't remember how many, but
well, those are one hell of a goat.
Yeah.
And that's where we get our goat cheese from.
Yeah, it falls from the sky when it's raining.
Yeah. Jacob Ironside says, at least it's not opera singing that would really draw some unwanted attention. Oh, yes. It's very, well, you can sing quietly in opera, but I hear what you're saying. Potato Ribbon says, imagine a fight on screen of the Valar versus Melkor. It would be like an apocalypse. Yeah. I think maybe the closest we might get to that is what we saw in The Hobbit with those mountains fighting each other, throwing boulders at each other.
Yeah.
Potato Revan says, in Irish mythology, the gods had to create another world because when they fought, the universe began to die. When they thought the universe began to die, they said there was more planets, but they were destroyed in a battle between them. Now they live in magma. Oh, well, there you are. Yeah. Yay. You see, it's all connected. It's all connected. Snorta Poopa says, it's raining feta. Hallelujah. Or goat cheese. Actually, if you've never had goat cheese made in Norway, oh my gosh. It's almost sweet. It's like a treat. It's almost a dessert. And I'm always afraid to say it because I can't pronounce Norwegian well, but you can get some of it here and it's delicious.
Jarlsberg cheese?
No, not Jarlsberg. Jarlsberg is what you make with grilled cheese. As you, I'm talking about that stuff. It comes in a big square, and it almost tastes like it's almost sweet. It's like a dessert. It tastes almost like chocolate. I can't.
Oh, the brown cheese?
Thank you.
Yeah, we just call it brown cheese.
Oh, good. So I can say it without trying to say the.
Yep, it's not difficult to pronounce that. No.
No. Well, it's difficult for me to pronounce the real word for it, but it is delicious. Try some brown cheese. It is.
Yeah, on homemade bread straight out of the oven.
Lovely. Yeah. Buffalo mozzarella is really good, says Jacob Ironside. I agree. Oh, wait. Potato Ribbon said something about, breech birth. I'm just not sure I'm going there. I think I know what you mean. All right. Timon Flip says, never had goat cheese. Oh, he says cheese here is stupid expensive. Okay, I can understand that. All right. Well, we're going to move from our commercial product placement of goat cheese, Norwegian goat cheese, and go to Of the Coming of the Elves and the Captivity of Melkor. So we're going to finally get to the elves, and this time around, I am going to go to a summary because this is also one of those that kind of makes your head blow up a bit. And it is referring to, as it says, the coming of the elves, yay, and the captivity of Melkor. Melkor goes through several captivities. I think that also with these captivities, Stieg, they're showing that Melkor is kind of like Gargamel. He keeps being thwarted.
Yeah, he's awesome and all, but he tends to be a bit. He doesn't plan it out.
No, that's what I say. He's like he's Gargamel, and Papa Smurf comes and thwarts him.
It's like Disney Thrawn.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's not Thrawn. So, anyways, we have the Valar remained in Aman under the light of the true trees. Yay! And only Yavanna and Orome returned to Middle Earth at times. From there, they brought tidings that those lands were under Melkor's shadow. Thus, many Valar wished to make war on Melkor, especially Tolkis. But Mandos warned them in the name of Manwë that they would not make war because the firstborn were coming in that age. Then Varda prepared the world by placing new and more powerful stars in the sky to guide the elves in the darkness of Middle Earth. Under the new lights, the elves awoke at, I'm going to butcher it, Cuevin, but this only became known to the Valar after Orome came upon them by chance. Yeah. So with the coming of the elves came our stars. And then while they were there in Cuevin, help me with the pronunciation, anyone who knows it, the elves invented languages and lived in peace. So we can blame them for having second languages and everything you had to do in school. And lived in peace, but they were also tormented by Melkor, who keeps sucking, who sent evil creatures to plague them and instilled in their hearts fears of the rider. And it is said that they also captured many elves in Ultimno and corrupted them, creating orcs in mockery of the elves. And this was the most evil deed of Melkor. There we go. This is where, Stieg, we get the...
This is where the pronoun people came from.
Oh, no.
Which is indeed the most evil thing Melkor has ever done.
That wasn't quite what I was looking for. So he captured these elves. So the orcs, they not only were things that were elves once, they were kidnapped, and he corrupted them and created orcs in mockery. And that is the most evil deed that he's done, because I think, Steve, what he's saying is that the elves being the firstborn and like the most beautiful of the creation of God, Iluvatar, or at least the one that is most manifest, and then to make a mockery of that, to make a mockery of life, and to make a mockery of what was beautiful, that's evil. So, and they showed themselves to be ugly. And I think that this is also where people can misunderstand what and why the bad guys are ugly. It's not because Tolkien was biased against ugly people. It was that the ugliness and the was a manifestation of what was really on the inside. It's like the picture of Dorian Gray in monster form. Returning from Middle Earth, Orome told the Valar of the elves and of the shadows that troubled them. Then the Valar went to war against Melkor in the Battle of the Tower. So let's have another battle with this dude, in which the elves heard a great shaking and were worried, but did not take part in the battle. I almost see it like maybe it was manifested as an earthquake. Correct me if I'm wrong. After many battles, Melkor was found cowering in the depths of Ultimno like a little bitch, and Alway wrought the chain of Agenor to keep him in captivity. He was chained by Tulkas and imprisoned in the halls of Mandos. That is also that's in a lot of myth about the chaining up of the demon, the chaining up of Satan. I'm thinking also of the way in the ninth circle of hell in Dante's Inferno, that's where he has Satan kind of encased in like some sort of chain thing. I also believe it is in the book of Revelation, chapter 12. I don't know if he was chained so much as sent away, where he was allowed to make war on people. Help me out here in the chat, everyone. Help me out here in the chat about that. Steve, is there a mythological character, like a demonish kind of character in your culture? You know, in the mythos.
Not demons, no. It's just there's giants, fire giants, and stuff like that. And Loki is kind of not a demon, but
mischievous. Okay, so you don't have a thing like where they're all chained up and like the
no. Loki basically starts Ragnarok.
Oh, well done, Loki.
Kills off all of them.
Yeah. So we're all screwed. All right. Did smoked Irish cheese? Actually, I don't think I have. I've had some regional ones. Elvish goat cheese, children of the stars. Yes. Here we go. We've got elves that identify as orcs, or would it be orcs that identify as elves? Oh, Luke Skywalker makes blue cheese. Hardy har har. Surtur.
Yeah, Surtur the Black.
Oh. Well, there you go. See, I told you, y'all know your crap
fire
here
giant.
in the chat.
The George Martin's books are based on Norse mythology. Surtur the Black is actually Jon Snow. Surtur the Black is a fire giant. There's a little hint when Ygritte says that she's been kissed by fire after Jon Snow kisses her. Because he's literally kissed her, and he's representing a fire giant who will have he will set the world ablaze with a burning sword during Ragnarok and lead the sons of Muspel into battle. Sons of Muspel, I believe, is the sons of Craster, which is the White Walkers. So he's going to get a burning sword. And, well, at the end of book 5, he's currently, dead. And he has Melisandre next to him, who can raise the dead and create burning swords.
Well, you heard it here first, everybody.
Yep.
So
and people who are raised by the red priests become something called fire whites. So there's another link.
So if Martin never finishes his book, just ask Steve. He knows what's going to happen. Yeah. I mean, I think that those are solid, very solid theories and
Yeah,
connections.
and the Bifrost Bridge is the wall.
Meanwhile, Keck44 says in Steeg's mythology, Matt Wilkins gets chained.
Well, I wouldn't complain.
Yeah. And
Then
Matt
again,
Wilkins.
rabid dogs need to be put down or chained. So
Oh, yikes. Well, he's not here to defend himself. So I don't let people talk about people who aren't here to defend themselves. Actually, Matt Wilkins has had some more children, and he's looking
yeah,
after them.
he had 2 twins on the 2nd of the 2nd, 2022.
Yes. And they were the second set of twins. So
Yeah,
these kids are destined for some sort of greatness by the gods. Yeah. And all of this Matt had on his community post, so we're not saying any information that's not common. It also was in the news. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
yeah.
So Matt's actually better than you, Steve, because he has been blessed with magical
I
children.
know. He keeps making twins, and he looks like someone who fires blanks. So it's
Oh,
amazing. It's amazing.
okay, we got to stop now because of my rule that you can't talk about people who are here where you can't defend themselves. Oh my gosh, Matt, I'm on your side. All right, shit, that was a good one. All right, let's continue. Okay, he's all chained. Okay, however, after he's all chained, many of Melkor's servants escaped and hid in Angband, and Sauron was among these. Ha ha ha. Yep. The Valar sent Orome to call the elves to Valinor, and he chose Ingwe, Finwë, and Elwë as ambassadors, because many elves did not trust the Valar. Well done. Gosh, jerks. Okay, the 3 ambassadors told their kindreds about the light of Valinor, and the elves embarked on a journey across Middle-earth, save a few who refused, and became the Dark Elves, or the Avari. Thus began the Great Journey and the Sundering of the Elves. Yes, this is a big part of the story. And I correct me if I'm wrong, this is Galadriel's as well. They crossed many of the Teleri, and many of the most numerous health fell off along the way, creating new elven peoples. The elves eventually reached Beleriand by the sea. Here more Teleri stayed for their love of the ocean, or returned to the forest, Sindar, on the shores of the Great Sea. Orome left the elves to seek the counsel of Malwë. So what we have here, we have the sundering of the elves, which is a big deal. So first we had the Quindi, and from the Quindi, there's 2. I'm looking at a map here. It's Calequendi, and then the Vanyar, the Noldor, and the Teleri come from the Calequendi, and the Teleri also and the Avari come from Morquendi. And I'm glad that Tolkien is in the beatific vision at this point, because he would probably be wincing at my pronunciation. So there we go. And we're going to get more of all of this next time on Miss Martin Muses. So we have now completed chapters 1, 2, and 3 of the Silmarillion. Before I go into my summary, I want, for those of you that are listening, if you want to read along, we will be doing chapters 4, 5, and 6 for the next session. The good news is these are short chapters. So if you've been following along and doing your homework, you get a bit of a brief break. But that even though these are short chapters, like chapter 4, for example, is only 2 pages, as always, there is loads of things for us to unpack. So that is our homework for next time. So as we come to the end of these 3 chapters, Stieg, as we come to the end of these 3 chapters, what do you got to say about this? What are your thoughts? Do you have anything to add?
Not much to add, but it's Silmarillion will never be my favorite book,
Mhm.
but I consider the work to be a 10 out of 10. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Just because something is great doesn't mean that a person necessarily enjoys reading it.
Yeah, it gets better, because that I remember. When we get into the elves, Glorfindel and all that, it gets pretty damn awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the first half basically that is a steep uphill.
Yeah. I know what you mean, because it becomes there's a little more of a narrative, and there's some more characters that
Yeah,
come into it. Yeah.
and not many fantasy stories have an extra book filled with mythology. You know,
Mm-hmm.
quite often you'll get, yeah, this is how kind of it started, and this is why the situation is what it is now. But in Tolkien's universe, he starts from the creation of the planet, which I don't think any other uh, fantasy authors have done that. Probably because they're afraid to be compared to Tolkien.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's just trying to do the Silmarillion, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think also, I don't even know if they're capable of doing that, because Tolkien was such a genius on such another level. And when you consider he started his mythos, writing it down and all that, in the 1920s, and he passed away in 1973 without even finishing it as he perhaps might have wanted it had he chosen to publish it. It was posted in 77. We're talking about 50 years,
Yeah,
and by a genius.
yeah, and it's completely optional if you want to read and enjoy the Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to read the Silmarillion
Nope.
at all. It's just it's extra.
Mm-hmm. Like an extra little icing on the cake.
Yeah,
I have found, as I'm rereading this, especially since I'm rereading this right after I reread The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, really getting a deeper appreciation, if that's possible, of all these myths and stories. I think it's just beautiful.
oh yeah. Even if I don't like reading it that much, it's still I still enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy the content, not the presentation. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Would this be a good analogy, Stieg? It's like watching a very, very good adaptation of Hamlet on the stage, and then trying to read it. It's like, when
Yeah,
you read it, you know it's great, but you're not enjoying it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think Keck in the chat kind of summed it up. It says literature, it's 5 out of 10, but for reference, it's a 10 out of 10.
oh, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Very good way. And I realize my analogy is not perfect, because Shakespeare was supposed to be performed.
yeah, and the thing is, if you're a big Tolkien fan, uh, you'll read it anyway because you just can't help yourself. You know.
Yeah. Well, you love it so much, and you want more, and it gives you more.
Yeah,
Jacob Jacob Ironside says, I think what's even still on my heart, I'm confused still, but good stuff. Yes.
yeah. It's like I said, it's kind of, you kind of have to reread it a few times to kind of get it. You
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah. And I won't
But it
lie.
gets easier to understand later on.
Yes, it does.
It really is the first stuff that's kind of yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the amount of cross referencing I have to do to prepare for these, and even though I've even read them before, and even even then, sometimes my brain kind of shuts down. I'm like, what? Am I sure I'm right here? That's why I love the chat so much. And you, of course, for assisting me. Sternopupus Kuber says it's a bit like reading all the begats in the Bible. Yeah. The begats in the Bible actually do have a purpose, but yeah, as you're reading it, you're like, my eyes are rolling back in my head. But that's a whole other different story. Well, once again, thank you. Thank you so much, Steve, of course, for being here, but also thank you to the chat. You all, as it once again, have been amazing, been adding content to this stream, as well as helping me and Steve clarify to make sure we know what the hell we're talking about, because it's a very difficult work, but I am loving it, and I'm loving having you all here. Jacob Iron says later, you all till next time, I think is what you're saying. A lot of people are saying goodbye. Thank you to all my mods. You know what? The Russians haven't been showing up. I don't know what happened to them, but I'm very happy they're not here. Snortopupus Kubur says, take care, every human. Yes. And now, of course, we have Snortopupus the White. I turned you into an Astari. You are now part of the order. There are now 6, not 5. And everyone say goodbye. Thank you very much. Thank you. Catch you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Have a great day, everyone. Have wait, I was about ready to do my sign off, but then let me see. 1 or 2 more comments come in I want to catch. Timon says the Silmarillion is like a beautiful frame to a magnificent painting. It is not required to enjoy the painting, but it makes it even more enjoyable. Well said. Well said. And thank you, the R. Good day and God bless. Yes, bless you too. And thank you, everyone, for being here. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day and be certain. I'm sorry. I just saw Keck says the Russians are too busy messing with vodka shortage. Well, that's it. Have a great day, everyone. Have the great day. Be certain if you are Russian, make sure that you have a strong supply of vodka. And also, if you are Melkor, maybe figure out you need to just stop rebelling, because you'll just end up in chains and not in a good way.